What's going on, Junkie Nation? Gorgeous George and Goes are back with Aspen Ladd. She is going to be fighting on the second installment of regular season matchups that the PFL has in store for us, all of them in Atlanta. Her fight is on Friday, June 16th, so we're about a month away, and she is on the main card. So let me tell you how this works. 6:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus for the prelims, and then 10 p.m. Eastern for that main card on ESPN. She faces Karolina Sobek, and just so you understand, in the standings, both of these young ladies, they need they need points and possibly a finish so that they can move on. How are you, Aston? How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to get back in there and very grateful that I don't have to wait very long for it.
Nice. All right. Um, is that just because you love the staying busy, or the taste of getting a loss out of your mouth is something that motivates you? What you like that quick turnaround? Because it also comes with another weight cut and that type of thing. Sometimes you need to re-energize.
Um, it's a mixture, honestly, because I've been doing this so long at this point, and I never really take a shit ton of time off, so it doesn't. It feels fairly normal just to continue training, to continue being in a camp situation. But yeah, anytime you have a fight go away that you don't necessarily want it to, you want to get right back in there. But I
Mm-hmm.
felt the same way after wins because you're excited, you want to go back in. After a loss, it's bad taste. You want to go and wash it out.
Got it. Okay. So I looked at the standings, and both you and Carolina obviously need 6 points would be ideal.
Yeah,
Five is what you get for stopping someone in the second round. But obviously, the win is the most important thing. But let me ask you this: like, do you feel a little bit of that pressure where rounds one and two are paramount compared to other fights you've been in?
definitely, especially going into this one and the second round. I need as many points as possible. So going into it, it's basically trying to treat it like a 5 minute fight.
And so does she. So that means there's going to be urgency on both sides, which means action and openings. So that's got to be pretty exciting. Like it's a different type of appeal as you're going into the fight because they're in the same boat.
Shit, I hope so. Like it sucks when you have opponents that don't necessarily want to engage. Like the most entertaining types of fights and the most fun to be in are when you both go out there and you both want it.
Mm-hmm. Aston, so let me ask you this. I just rewatched your fight before the interview, and you had very similar situations where in the third round when you did lock her up and you threw her down, obviously that got you the round. You almost got the stoppage. Some people argued a possible 10-8, all that stuff, right? But you did have some of those positions in rounds one and two. She was able to whiz her out one time or frame out one time. What happened in round three? Was the technique better? Was there just more urgency? Was she more tired and you were stronger? What made the difference in that round? Where maybe that just, I guess, made it, it didn't occur in the first round for you.
More urgency. I started too slow. Um, yeah, started too slow, and I went back and watched it. And there's certain things I wasn't doing on my takedowns. I was getting in just fine, but I was transitioning out way too soon. So been working on little things that were they add up, you know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we were just talking about the urgency was the difference in round three, and how do you apply that towards this fight? Will it have to do with the warm up? Is it all in your head? What can you do to, I guess, bring that mentality to round one of this fight?
It's all me. It's in the head, in the mindset, and not overthinking things. But yeah, it's really just that, not overthinking it, just going in and performing.
Hmm. Do you feel pressure? And like, it's nice to have constant fights, which is what fighters want, $1 million prize at the end. But I guess you got to get to these playoffs. And right now, you're kind of behind the eight ball a little bit. Is it any different types of pressure in this fight than other fights that you've been in?
Definitely, but it's pressure regardless. So any fight I've been in, it's pressure. It's a different kind of pressure with the point system and how much rides on this next one. So yeah, there's definitely that, and can't be any slow starts this time.
Aspen, I'm going to tell you why I love the PFL and why it drives me crazy.
Okay.
I love the point system, but I try and put myself in your guys' shoes sometimes, and I don't know what the hell to do because George is right. There is urgency, but at the same time, you don't want to be reckless, right? You don't want to just come
Yeah.
out and be, a maniac and just throw just to do it because it's your health, right? Like we're watching, but it's your health that's on the line. So how do you balance that? What goes through you? Like how often do you have to change strategies in your mind and mindsets? Is that continuously changing, or is that something that the night of you'll just kind of feel out?
I think it depends on the opponent, honestly, and how reckless you can be and it um, not be suicidal, basically, or just trying. Because there's a certain level where if you just go out and bang, you got to be ready for what could possibly happen there. And then there's other ones where it's a little less dangerous. But I don't know. It can elicit a much more that kind of fighting style, but it really depends on who you're matched with and the opponent and how game they are. Sorry.
No problem. Um, I wanted to ask you about some news that just came out with Francis Ngannou signing with the
Yeah.
PFL, and it's not really just about Francis Ngannou. He's kind of advocating for fighters in general,
Yeah.
and I wanted to ask you if he held a meeting and asked you, what's something that you want to see change in mixed martial arts or in PFL. What would you ask Santa Francis at this point?
We are considered independent contractors, even though we are not. We're not able to go and work for another organization while we're basically working for a UFC or a PFL or anything else. I would like basically to be considered an employee of the company completely. Health insurance would be great. Retirement would be great. All the things that we don't have unless we're doing it on our own, which we all do. But those would be my asks, and they're big ones.
Did you hear that they're possibly thinking about going with USADA because they had a lot of people test positive in that first round of fights? Was USADA something you were comfortable with when you were with the UFC, or was it a pain in the ass?
Oh, it's definitely a pain in the ass, but I had very good relations with my USADA people. I was almost to the point of getting that 50 test jacket. I've been tested so many times, man, and I was so used to it. I was actually, who was I around the other? I think I was around like, I won't give names of who was getting tested, but I was talking to the people because they were my drug testers for years, and you have different people coming in. And it's like, yeah, you guys are a complete pain, and I'm glad I don't have to get up at 6 a.m. when you're randomly walking into my house. But with the results that are coming out of that, they're probably necessary.
As someone who isn't home a lot, did you ever have any funny encounters? Did they ever have to go meet you at a hiking spot or to get the testing done? I know that you have to track the app, and I know that you're an avid outdoors woman. So, do you have any funny stories from those days?
I was pretty good about updating. There was one time where I absolutely rushed home to get there because I was out hiking, and they met me halfway. And then another time was like 5 in the morning, and I live up in the mountains. Like it's completely dark. I was down in the kitchen getting ready to go, and my house is a bit weird where you can't really tell like which door to come in sometimes. And she had gone around to the back of my house in the middle of the night, and all I see, or well, it was still pitch black. It wasn't the middle of the night, but it was like 5. And I see a pale hand is reaching around and grabbing my door handle and jiggling it. It's like I'm about to get robbed. And then I realized what it was.
Wow. So they can just let themselves in?
She wasn't trying to let herself in. She was trying to like test the door handle apparently. But yeah,
Wow.
no,
That
very.
seems almost like a break in to me. Like, I mean, you would think that the coordination, hey, I'll be there at 6. Okay. Knock, 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 knock. Here I am.
Oh no, they don't inform you that they're going to show up. They just randomly show up. So
Wow.
only get informed if you're not at the location that you're supposed to be at. So you have to register your whereabouts all the time.
Hmm.
If you're not there, they'll give you a call and you have 1 hour to get to them. Otherwise, you're going to get a miss.
Allow
Jeez.
me to be weird for just a second here. Is it
Yeah.
always at home, or like let's say the meeting spot is a Starbucks? Can two females just? I guess two females can just go into a Starbucks bathroom and handle the business, or how's that work? It seems like a
I
private thing, you know.
had to do Starbucks 3 times meeting random people. And sometimes not because you'll usually So certain people are assigned certain areas with USADA, and you'll generally have like a main person, but if they're out, you get random people that come in.
Wow.
But yeah, no, I've been tested several times in coffee shops, a couple gas stations, UFCPI a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if you better be pretty good on the whereabouts or somewhere where you can get within like half an hour of it, or because if you it sucks if you get 3 misses, then you can get a suspension.
Right. But you're in favor of it, you said, right?
It's really inconvenient, but there's also it's quite obvious that a lot of people are on the sauce, so it's like, it's like, does it really matter that much? Do I want to get up at 6 a.m.? But no, it wouldn't bother me. I don't know if I'm necessarily a proponent of it just because of the inconvenience. But then you see everybody and their brother pop, and then certain people in my division, for example, it's like, that's not natural. So I wouldn't be bothered by it.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned year-round health benefits. Right now, PFL just covers you for the fight itself, or do you get extended coverage during once the fight's announced, like a training camp, or how's that work?
Oh yeah, any injuries that are that occur during like a fight, for example, we're taken care of, or something that needs to be worked on, we're taken care of. So we're covered fight-wise. It's just not like the normal human medical, dental, all that crap.
Mm-hmm. But if you were to just twist the knee today, you'd be covered, even though you're a month away from the fight. I guess that's what I'm asking.
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yeah. Well, I hope, like Ghost said, Santa Francis maybe does bring some of that to you all. And how about the fact that his opponent is guaranteed a $2 million payout? Like, that was eye-opening. Did you hear about that one?
The fact that he cares to do that is insane. Yeah, no, I read that, and that was the most shocking part to me. Not anything else, but it's like he actually does care.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, and a lot of people are still shitting on him, but they're idiots. Like somebody like that is only good for the sport, especially if you're another fighter and you're talking crap. It's like, no. It's like he is a proponent of you, and clearly with what he asked for in his contract, besides the position of power as far as the chairman of the PFL in Africa. But just something on that level of a guaranteed personally opponent, nobody else has ever done that. Mm-hmm. It's not that I'm aware of.
Don't tell him I said this, but I see him at Extreme Couture a lot. I plan on tripping him, calling them names. I'm over 206 and under 265, but I'm going to go for that 2 million. You know, it's even appealing to me.
It's going to be a mass exodus of heavyweights coming. At least that's what I think. With that potential, it's like everybody's going to want to fight him. But yeah, it's amazing, and it's great for the sport to have more opportunity like that.
You can be as honest as you want right now, okay? If I fought Francis, but the fight started with him asleep, and I was holding a baseball bat, could I beat him, or do you think I could hit him? He'd wake up and still trounce me. Who do you think wins that fight? Remember, he's asleep and I got a bat.
He's asleep and you've got a bat. I think you better be really quick and hit really hard with that bat, because if he's up, it's all bad.
You got $1,000 in your hand. You got $1,000 in the hand, and just like in Thailand, they're taking bets right there. Who do you go? Do you go give me Ngannou, or do you go give me Gorgeous George?
I'm not a betting woman. In my sport, I can get a lot of trouble for that.
True.
Oh, look at you, staying political. You could have hammered me right now. You could have said Ngannou all day, GG. Take that.
I was actually curious about that because I saw the 9 suspensions pop up, but not the details. Like, I wonder if all of it was roids or if people were betting or what. Who knows?
There's an article on, I think it was on Junkie, because that's 90% of what I read, but it told you what every single person, it was on Junkie. I read it a little while ago, and it just standalone. It was a few different ones that I don't really know that well, but it told you what each one was, the fine, and how long they're out. But there was 9 names. It was a lot.
Yeah. No, we'll see if they bring in USADA. I know it's very expensive and it's very inconvenient, but we'll see.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks as always for the time. Good luck with your training camp, the weight cut, all that good stuff, the travels to Atlanta. Go out there and do your thing. Round 3, Aspen Ladd was a beast that night. We were there. So, yeah, like you said, if you can hone that in and get it going, that's a lot of trouble for Karolina there.
5-minute fight, man. Hopefully we see you.
Thanks for the time as always. Take care. We'll see you.
Guys, bye.